Have you ever experienced a roller coaster of emotions? Has someone been there for you at such a time? Have you been there for someone, just supporting them when they're going through a challenge or difficult emotions, without trying to fix them, just letting them process and progress through life in that moment? When your daughter comes home from school, she wants to tell you about her day, and you listen with complete, undivided attention. You are holding space. When your partner shares the stress they went through at work, how bad their day was, and you listen with empathy, compassion, and full attention. Without waiting for your turn to speak, you're holding space. When you mess things up, feeling totally overwhelmed, like you are a complete mess, and someone looks at you with complete acceptance, they're holding space for you. We have done it at one or other time for someone, and we've been there as well when we needed someone to hold space for us. Parents are space holders. Let's talk about what is holding space. You are listening to Raising Parents, a podcast for modern parents on a journey to become aware, conscious, and mindful parents. And I am your host, Saloni Singh, a mom of two amazing teenage daughters, a wife, a friend, parents, and family coach. Parents are space holders, not just for certain moments, but it's a way of parenting, of living and loving. Children blossom in the space you hold for them with love, compassion, understanding, and kindness. If you haven't heard this term before and are wondering what is holding space, let me tell you, it's not a commonly used term. I was sharing with my husband the other day that my next episode is about holding space as a parent. And he was like, holding what? In my few years of coaching practice, I realized what I was doing for my clients basically was holding space. Space where they felt safe, accepted, not judged, where they had freedom to feel whatever they were feeling and express fully what they wanted to express. And in that space, no judgmental, sacred space, healing happened. Positive shift, change, and transformations happened naturally. I slowly started realizing that in relationships, whether it's with our spouse or children or anyone else, what we must do is learn to hold space. This episode is like having a mini coaching session with me. So be ready. Find a quiet place for yourself. And if you can, have a notebook and pen handy, that would be great, as you will want to take some notes. Let's start with an example. Let's suppose you bring some seeds home and you plant them in a pot. What you do next is make sure that the soil is good. It's watered regularly and the plant is kept in as much sunlight it needs, right? If the saplings don't come in a few days, you again check the soil whether the water is too much or too less, or if it is getting the sunlight it requires or not. You don't start yelling at the plant or start digging the roots to see what's the problem with the plant. You just trust the seed you brought from the shop and believe that if you take care of the environment, the plant will flourish in its own time. But do you really trust your own seed? Your child is your own seed. When your child does something that you don't agree with, or doesn't fulfill the expectations you have from them, or are lagging behind in their growth, you start thinking, oh, my child is too shy, too introvert, she's underconfident, or he's very aggressive. We start labeling the child with problems or issues which need to be fixed. Something like, she's not focused, he's so easily distractible, so hyperactive, she's a picky eater, he doesn't listen, oh, my child is too lazy. These are the common words we all have used for our children from time to time. Let me remind you, when your seed wasn't flourishing, you only checked the environment. The soil, water, and the sunlight is adequate or not. And the same goes for our children as well. Whenever we see an issue, challenge, or concern in their behavior, personality, we need to check the environment. Remember, your child is here to blossom, no matter what. What we need to do as parents is to take care of the space they're growing in. Provide a conducive, kind, nurturing environment for our children where they naturally progress and flourish. So, next time, when you feel my child is not focused or my child is glued to his mobile, ask yourself, how can I embody more focus and stillness in my daily life? So my son learns how to stay focused. How can I lead by example and use my mobile minimal? When this thought bothers you, my daughter is easily distractible. Ask yourself, how can I change the environment of my home to be calm and simple so she can manage her distractibility very well? When you wonder why my child is reacting and being aggressive at small things, pay attention to all the times when you've been reacting and work on your own response to the triggers you have. And be kind to yourself as well. Keep reminding yourself that it's okay to be sometimes messy, emotional, vulnerable, and sensitive human being and keep growing. Because this is a skill that was never taught to us, and that's why this feels really hard to do so. For many of us, while we were growing up, people in our lives might not have held a safe space for us. Most of us have grown with others imposing their expectations, hopes, desires, and beliefs on us, trying to stamp their definition over ours. It might have come from a loving and caring place, and the intentions must have been good, but it was still their truth, not ours. And their truths have been distorted by the people and society who did not hold space for them. And now we might be doing the same to our children as well. Holding space means accepting someone's truth, no matter what they are. It also means seeing who they are. I remember my childhood very well. As a young girl, I was very quiet and shy. I used to speak very slowly, very softly, and only a few words, that too only if required. If a guest would come to my home, I would hardly interact with them. I still remember my dad's aunt used to visit us for a month every year. And when she would go back, she would ask my mom, I haven't heard a single word from your younger daughter. Can you ask her to speak up? And my mom would just give me a loving and accepting smile. People will call me shy, quiet, introvert, even dumb. Does she even has a voice? They would ask. But I don't remember a single time when my mom or dad asked me to speak up in front of any guest or a family friend. They never told me that I was shy or I should speak more or speak louder. They were just naturally accepting of me and who I was. They were appreciative of me and always encouraged me whenever I would use my voice to participate in any extracurricular activity at school. They were not psychologists, and I'm sure they were not doing it consciously. Looking retrospectively now, I realize that their love, acceptance, and belief in me gave me the confidence to express myself fully in my later years of school and college. I was a confident teenager. I participated in speeches, debates, competitions, and never hesitated to speak my truth in front of others. And as I became a coach later and started public speaking, I always believed that I could do it with ease. I've realized now that my parents had a huge role to play in the way I see myself. Because they never pushed me to speak up or showed any disappointment that there was something wrong with me, I was a happy, quiet girl then, and I became whom I wanted to be later. What they clearly did for me unknowingly just held space for me to blossom in my own time. In my coaching practice, I hear so many parents being so concerned and worried about their little children, being shy and introverts, and then they try to change this. They want to help their child improve with all good intentions. While what's needed is just to love them for their shyness, for their weaknesses, and for their strengths, for everything they are. So let's understand what holding space is not. Trying to fix, solve, or provide your point of view to your children is not holding space. Just listening for the sake of hearing, a one way conversation, telling, advising, correcting, criticizing, commanding, or lecturing is not holding space. Or when we have our own agenda, we are trying to control rather than naturally allowing what wants to emerge in that space. We are leading them towards where we want them to go, rather than allowing them to notice what their heart wants. And we do that a lot as a parent. You might think, but I'm not a life coach or therapist. How do I know how to hold space for my children? The truth is, you've been already doing it for your children. Every time you could put your parental ego on side and let them from love and unconditional acceptance. And with some practice, you can be a powerful ally to your children to help them connect with their wisdom and power within. As a parent, you are the biggest influencer for your kids when it comes to how they see themselves and their lives. Keep reminding them of their absolute wholeness and perfection. I would invite you to start with a simple step today. Make a small shift. Every single day, when you look at your child, smile. Smile with your heart, with your eyes. Let your eyes light up by the beauty of your child's soul as soon as you look at them. And your child will know how worthy they are, how lovable they are just as they are, and how significant they are in this world. Feel that joy in your heart when you look at them. Do not think, just become a space of love and light when you look at your child, one moment, one day at a time. Also, do the same for yourself. When you look into the mirror today, smile. Give yourself a beautiful, loving smile with your heart, your eyes, as if you're looking into your soul. You will soon start feeling you're holding a nourishing space for yourself and your child. I would love to share a beautiful poem from my favorite book on parenting, Parents Tao Te Ching. First, let me share what is Tao if you haven't heard this term before. According to Chinese philosophy, Tao means the absolute principle underlying the universe. It's the way of life. I've shared some wonderful resources about this in the show notes. Please check them out. So here's a beautiful poem for you. Be as the Tao. In many ways, the good parent is like the Tao. Not in ways you might think. The Tao loves all of creation, but does not seek control. The Tao nourishes all life everywhere, but does not judge that life. The Tao cherishes every person, but does not grasp or cling. Can you love without control? Can you nourish without judgment? Can you cherish without grasping? Of course you can, for the Tao flows through you. Allow yourself to experience the presence of this divine life force energy, the Tao in you. Be as the Tao. Keep holding space for yourself and your children. Sending you much love and infinite light. Signing off, Saloni Singh. I will see you in the next episode to share more about how to hold space. Till then, keep growing, keep evolving, and have a beautiful, joy-filled life with your children. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself today. Thank you for listening.